Avi was very concerned about the future of Western civilization and about what was happening in Europe. And I wrote many articles in French and in English about what's happening in Europe. I have the feeling that Europe is on the verge of collapse. And maybe it's too late for Europe. And Avi was right
You mean cultural?
about...
Economic? What sort?
No, mostly culturally and socially. You could see the change coming very fast. In a city like Brussels, and Brussels is an important city because it's the capital of Europe in many ways. And 20 years ago, when you arrived in Brussels by the train, you arrived in a Jewish area, mostly Jewish area. All the Jews left within 10 years, and now it's mostly a Muslim, and I could say radical Muslim area.
Not Molenbeek.
It's very close to Molenbeek, but Molenbeek is very famous because of what did happen. But other parts of Brussels are implicated in that. I think that the majority religion in Brussels right now is Islam. The majority of people living in Brussels who practice a religion are Muslims. And very radical Muslims are there. And if you go during the period of Ramadan in this part of the city, don't try to eat something, or you will be mugged by somebody. Mugged.
Oh, mugged?
Yes.
They will attack you?
Yes. They
but if
would
you're
say
Christian?
stop. No, they don't care. They consider that it's a Muslim area. And I could say that France is going in the same way. In France right now you have 570 no-go zones. And in fact these no-go zones are mostly Sharia zones. If you're not a Muslim, it's very dangerous, very unsafe for you to go in these areas. In every part of France it's very dangerous for a Jew to wear a kippah. All the Jews I know in France, I have many Jewish friends, wear a hat or a cap in order to hide the fact that they wear a kippah.
But aren't the Muslims only angry with Israel, or are they angry with European Jewish people?
I could say that if you watch the French TV, almost all the channels, you can see that you have a very heavy propaganda against Israel, and it has an influence on the way French people look at Jews. They think that Jews are connected to a state that is a criminal state. And so Jews have to be very careful because they are considered as almost criminals. Jews that say, I'm against Israel, could be okay. But Jews that support Israel are especially in danger.
But when a Jew is riding the metro or on a tram or a bus and there are Muslims around, they see he's a Jew, do they ask if he's liberal or how he feels about Israel?
No. If they see a kippah or if they see a Star of David, it's enough. People can be mugged, can be harassed, can be insulted, and it happens. It happens every day. And
happens every day.
Yes, I could say that it happens every day. And even in high school, almost all Jewish children who were in high school, in public high schools in France, have decided to leave. Their parents decided to take them off the high school because it's dangerous for them. So they go to Jewish school, and now many parents feel that it's even unsafe to send children to Jewish school because of what did happen in Toulouse. So they send them to Catholic schools, to other schools. France is becoming a very unsafe country, and France is not the only country that is that way. And I could say by personal experience that my daughter was in a public high school, and at the end of the last year she was in that school, she started to say to me what was happening inside of her high school. And she didn't say it before, because she said to me, if I had said it before, maybe you would have come to the high school and said something, and it would have been dangerous for me, so I didn't want to say anything. But she said to me there was still one Jewish girl in the school, and she was harassed all the time. I could say that a large part of the French elite react in the same way. They say we accept the existence of Israel, but Israel has to share the land with Palestinians, and so we agree with the existence of Israel, but Israel would have to accept the creation of a Palestinian state. And when they see that people are killed by terrorists in Israel, they say, it's not the fault of these people, of the killers. The killers react because they are colonized, and they have to do something. So the fault is the fault of Israel, the fault of the Jews. And when you have a terrorist attack in Europe, on the French TV and everywhere, people say it's terrorism, it's really bad. But when you have terrorism in Israel, they say, oh, no, they are not terrorists. They are fighting for their freedom.
Mm-hmm. Do you see the war against Israel, the Arab-Israeli conflict, as a part of the global jihad?
Yes, completely. In Islam, you have the idea that once a territory is conquered by Islam, it has to stay Muslim forever.
And
so
historically.
Exactly.
So
they don't. They don't care.
Spain.
It has been. Yes.
Even Spain.
Yes. Exactly. It's for them. It's a part of Dar al-Islam. And it has to be a part of Dar al-Islam. And so I think that it will be almost impossible for the Muslim world to accept the existence of Israel, because for them Israel has been conquered by Islam. It has to be Muslim, that's it. And there is another reason. For them, Jews are supposed to be inferiors and to be liars.
Yeah.
Yes, so they are not supposed to rule a country.
I understand. Why do you feel like you're willing to leave your mother country, France?
I have decided to leave because I feel safer here. I receive many death threats because of what I write, and according to me, the people who speak don't act, and the people who act don't speak. But my wife thinks that it's dangerous and it's unsafe, and because she still has a Muslim first name, she didn't change her first name. Our daughter received threats too in the high school.
For what you've written?
Yes, and so she doesn't want me to come to take her at the exit of the high school, because she says if somebody sees you, they will think that you're connected to me, and it could be dangerous for me. So it's a very unpleasant situation. I don't want to hide, and to hide the fact that I have a daughter. I have a visa that allows me to stay here, but I have to give lectures. I have to give lectures at least once a month. But I prefer to have to do that because here I'm in a country where you still have freedom. I don't have freedom anymore in France. I can speak less and less on the television. I was invited a lot before, but televisions receive death threats too. They receive threats of attacks. And so they say, okay, if in such a case we don't invite some people, it's not said. It's not said in the press, and they don't. It's not said in the media. All is done in hidden ways, but it happens. So you have a kind of terror that rules in Europe. Journalists are afraid to speak of certain topics. Professors are afraid to speak about certain topics, and you have a very strong propaganda, and propaganda changes the mind of the people. Many people in France would not hate Israel if they knew Israel, but they don't know Israel, for example. They just know what it's said by reports on the TV. They don't know anything about Jews, they just know what has been said to them about Jews. So propaganda has an effect on the mind of the people.
Mm-hmm. If Israel were to fall to Islam, whether it's to Iran, through Hezbollah, or Palestinian state, if Israel were to fall and Jerusalem to be conquered, what would that mean for the West? and the jihad against the West and the democracy's resistance to jihad?
I think it will not happen, but I think that if it did happen, it would be a disaster, and many people don't see it. It would be considered as a very important victory for Islam, and it would push many Muslims to go forward and to say to go forward.
War?
No,
forward.
Forward.
Uh-huh.
To go forward and to say now we have to take Europe. And I could say that Europe is almost lost, but in such a case, Europe would be completely lost. And I must say that I'm pessimistic about the future of Europe. I'm much more pessimistic about the future of Europe than about the future of Israel. I think that Israel is a strong country, and people in Israel know what they fight for. Europeans have no conscience of what's happening. If I look at what did happen after the attacks in November in Paris, I could see that people were not ready to fight for their freedom and for their civilization. Most people cried, most people said we have to bring flowers, it's too bad, we have to show to Muslims that we love them, and people went with sheets of paper on which they drew hearts. They colored the hearts in pink, and they wrote on the hearts, "We love you," and they want to put the heart on the mosques. So they said, "Muslims, we love you, so don't hurt us. We love you. You have to understand that we love you. We accept you." What did happen during the Obama years was a disaster for the world. I wrote 3 books about Obama in France. The second one was called The Obama Disaster, and I think that it has been really a disaster. And I think that Europe felt free to act against Israel, because in the White House you had the president who was not supportive of Israel. And I think that if you had a third term of Democrat president with Hillary Clinton, it would be, yes, Bernie Sanders would be much worse, but I don't think that he has a chance to get elected. Maybe I'm wrong. So I speak about Hillary Clinton. I think that Hillary Clinton would be a disaster for the world and a disaster for America too, because even if she was president for only 4 years, she could change the Supreme Court. And if you have 2 or 3 more liberals in the Supreme Court, I could say that the American Constitution would be lost.